I shouldn't even be here today. Like, it, the fact that I'm still here is a miracle, and it's a testament to other people helping me out get this far. And frankly, I'm someone who just, I don't even know how to describe it, alright? Like, too many issues, too many problems. Like, I'm only one person, you know? That being said, I probably should have been gone like 10, 15, maybe even 20 different ways. All from years ago when I was a kid, all the way up till I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it. I just, there's a story here that matters. And as I told a friend a couple minutes ago, in some ways, it's not necessarily like the individual that's important, but it's a story that the individual is attached to that's important. You know, like it's not all about me, but it's about, like, by putting God into the picture, I'm changing the narrative and I'm attaching myself to what is important. It's it's hard to describe, but it's important. And frankly, this is going to be like a rhetoric or something. It's going to be a theme, something I'll be a broken record about. Like, I see the value in what I'm doing, even though I don't. I'm saying this backwards. I don't like where I'm at. I don't like what I'm doing, but I see the value in it. And there's a very real need, especially since the church is not should be covering some of these things that other people on the outside are covering. Jordan Peterson, Kevin Samuels, Hammerhand, even some of the other people like Undead Chronic, you know, guys in the men's groups, guys outside of church that are talking about this stuff that are not being addressed, that are being ignored. I'm a broken army veteran. Like, it's not necessarily my body that's weak and broken, it's my mind, it's who I am. Unlike most other people, part of my story is like who I was. I pretty much got ripped in two. Like, my identity, I just had some serious identity issues, and for a long time, like halfway through my military career, the only identity I could latch onto was being that of a soldier. Did the best I can, rose to the challenge, prove other people wrong, and I mean a lot of other people wrong. And the fact is, my old catchphrase, you know, I'm still here, mattered. It mattered to me then because I was overcoming some very serious issues. And just surviving in today's world really makes me question a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, looking back at what I've overcome, realizing like some of what this ties in with the reason why some fathers are so hard on their kids is because the fathers want their kids to survive what will come in the future. You know, it may be hard now, but you can look back at what you overcame to help you overcome your future trials and traumas and all of that stuff, you know? So, in some ways, it's like you want to test yourself and see what you're made of. In other ways, it's like shore up those defenses, get those boundaries up, get those walls up to protect yourself, not to isolate yourself, you know? Protect who you are, protect your heart. Jeez. Like, my testimony, my story, I'm only ever going to share like one part here on this entire channel because the other part, I'm not finding that way to talk about it just yet. These are opposites like night and day. Who I am. And I'm still coming to grips with who I am in some ways. Like, because you have to come to grips with the lies, the truth, the lies along with the truth, the fears along with what you know to be true. And honestly, being told that I was the worst person out there, every one of those worst imaginable names that you can think of is what I was called. It's what I had to live through. It's what I dealt with. People wanted to see me fail. They wanted to see me hurt. And first and foremost is Sergeant Poley. I didn't forgive him until I had a dream where him and I actually talked. And then I was able to actually forgive him afterwards. And that was after he had passed away. I'm actually going to say that is tied with him passing away. Like, I don't think I knew he passed away until I had that dream, or something along the lines of this. We're going back to like 2000, the end of 2019. So like, there's some very real history there. That guy was my biggest mountain for a very, very long time, and I just could not get over it. I couldn't overcome it. I couldn't handle it. Really crushed me in a way that left an imprint, an impact like anyone else who has their own story will. Like, I don't want to be known as a survivor, but I kind of am a survivor, and it is tied to this. Now, changing things up and bringing God into the picture changes the perspective in a very interesting way. One, I think there's a profound impact as far as my spiritual walk. First and foremost, I'm the only one in my life. So fixing my identity goes a long ways, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. Like, you got to start out with some base foundations, and not knowing who yourself is one of them. You can't really fix things if you can't fix yourself if you don't know yourself. Two, if not for some of these struggles, I would never have landed up here, which ties in with this whole, like, the idea behind the channel about going between church and society. I see a very real need because I've gone through some of this myself, and I'm just like, men like me, we're not born, we're made. And in some cases, we are survivors. We pass on what we know to others who are willing to listen, who are interested. People who want to learn, people who want to hopefully reach out and help those around them as well. Their kids, their friends, whoever, whatever, doesn't matter. Making a positive impact will always matter. And don't get me wrong, I work night shift. I can't exactly go volunteering at other shelters just because, like, I don't have many friends, and I don't have the social groups that other people do. Like, I get it. I'm encouraged to do that. I've taken that into consideration. If this job changes and my schedule becomes free, this will become a possibility. And who knows? Who knows what the future may have? I like animals and I like junk food, like pizzas. And frankly, I wish there would be more CC pizzas around, because dessert pizzas are awesome. Chocolate, fudge covered pizza, come on. Like, this stuff is awesome. It's awesome for a reason. That being said, I'm encouraged to hear one of my friends actually being interested in my story and my testimony and all that, because there used to be a very real interest and love for that. But because of everything that I've been through, there was a lot of disillusionment first, but until 2019 rolled around and I started seeing more and revisiting some old stuff, old skeletons in the closet that I've been looking into. Like, no, that's not relevant. Can't talk about that. Just some old issues that I never really resolved or dealt with that popped back up, and finally having answers. Sure, yeah. Now, I want to say, I want to give credit to, like, some people in the LGBTQ community, because no one in the church cared. I had very few friends around, very few people to help me get back to my feet and to stop emotionally bleeding all over the place. Learning, how do I phrase this? The rigidity, the inflexibility, the strength that is needed to become more of a man than who you are, to grow from being a boy to a man, or whatever you want to call it, that needs to be there, and that was never there, ever. This isn't a good or a bad thing. It's just a lack. It's a lack of one of the marks that a man carries. And sadly, some of the ways the men become men is through trauma and tragedy where like they're forced into a situation, they become a survivor. Like half of the World War II veterans, they didn't know how to process things, so when they came back, they became a mess. They just learned coping mechanisms. Can't exactly talk to too many of them nowadays anymore, so I can't get an idea about that. I have talked to some Vietnam veterans about some of this, and it took them like 20 years to finally open up and talk about some of their problems. And with regards to the two gentlemen I talked about previously. So yeah, it's a miracle being here. It's a miracle being who I am, even if I'm only ever going to show like one side here. Don't get me wrong, I can't always be professional, but like, that's not really the real me, but it's probably the best version of me for public images and such. The only reason why I wanted to reach out to other platforms to do stuff is because I don't feel the need for professionalism. I feel like I can be who I am, or at least the other part of who I am. This is just a more darker, grittier reality type of things of like, this is important, check this out. Some of the stuff reflects that. I mean, it's surprising coming across some of the stuff in old video games. Cyberpunk 2077 came out like 5 years ago. There's older stuff still. The stuff hits hard. Being a veteran is, I don't know if it's common, probably uncommon, maybe rare, depends. You have a lot of veterans taking their lives weekly, not just daily, but weekly. Like, it's unbelievably high numbers, and I've already lost a lot of friends. In fact, some of these needs that I'm seeing are attached to the people who are disappearing from my life, from my old unit. People who are no longer here due to accidents or whatever. So like, I may have gone out of active duty in 2011, but see how long ago that was? Over 10 years ago. In a couple more years, it'll be 15, then 20. We don't live forever. Our stories we take with us unless we leave them behind. Leave behind a family or leave behind a legacy. And men outside the church talk about leaving behind a legacy. Mostly because their families are falling apart and they themselves are looking to rediscover who they are. How to pick up the pieces. How to reinvent yourself. I was asked that by an old Army buddy of mine. Great guy, but oh my word. Like, some deep conversations that we've had, some which I had to leave at his feet, so to speak, because he was in no state to talk about some of this stuff. I mean, I'm used to hitting hard, believe me. But this stuff, come on. Everyone has their own limit. Currently, I'm getting distracted. I have some work-related stuff here, doing this video, partly because there's a need, but yeah. Okay, so if anything comes into play dealing with work that is important, I'll probably put up here as well, but, we'll see. I don't want to speak too soon. Just got an update that I've been a couple minutes ago before doing this, and my mind is distracted. But I will say the last thing that really spurred this video, getting back on topic here, is I put together another piece when it comes down to like the adult content and escorts and all of that. If you don't have a healthy relationship with a woman, you don't have any like friendships or relationships with women, like for guys, you don't get hugs, you don't get positive touching, and people can laugh about that all they want, but like babies have died from the lack of holding and touching that should come from their parents that they don't get. They're not around, so you don't hear their story. And people don't really want to talk about that stuff. But, like, the point is, as men, you don't get hugs or anything. You're just ignored. And that, I think, explains why love dolls, why adult content and escorts are on the rise. Is because there's a very real need that others are trying to meet. And I'm not talking about all the people who are saying, I want to get off. I want to use this person and get off and, shove them out on the streets where they found them or whatever. Like, I'm not talking about that. It's like you're just using people like Band-Aids. I'm talking about the ones who are like, I don't have positive interactions with women. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I don't have anything like that. And your needs are something that you are focusing on. I know, I'm not trying. I went way beyond. I was trying to go for like 5-10 minutes, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be sorry for dropping real content, because unlike many other people, they can't claim copyright abuse. They can't be like, oh, you're copywriting stuff. No, I drop real stuff because people need real content, not just simply doctored up stuff that looks great and makes you feel fantastic. The hard truth is sometimes that we need. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot easier learning from other people than to experience it yourself. I get that. I've been there. I'm very thankful that some of these lessons I never had to learn the hard way. In fact, being single, even though it's a bit of a challenge, I'm seeing so much that I'm avoiding here. Other responsibilities, emotional train wrecks, because I'm not exactly someone who is stable emotionally because of deployment-related stuff alone. Deployment stuff related, That's not even talking about like, oh yeah, I was adopted. Okay, so you got some stuff there that I thankfully got help with through therapy. Like, geez. So emotional stuff, but there's also the whole like, I'm gonna go on a ledge here and say like the social skills have been not there. I'm not sure how to phrase it better, but like the lack of social skills, the lack of friends, like when I was a kid and stuff, like I don't even know how to go into all that. I'll just say social skills is missing there. There's some other stuff, but like I know things. I don't know people. I guess I'll leave it like that. I know how to be real, and I know things, and I know what matters. I know what's important. I've had people thank me for talking about stuff that's important because no one else did. In the church, outside the church, whatever. Okay, not like that, but there's been too many people who've thanked me for being open and honest and transparent about this stuff that they haven't heard from anywhere else. And it has left a profound impact on me. Until next time, take it easy. I'm going to try to take it easy for the rest of the day and the rest of the week. Got some serious stuff going on at my work, and changes need to be made. I think the only thing I feel comfortable sharing is that my supervisor had a stroke. We cannot be volunteered to cover another shift because there's supposed to be 3 of us and there's only 2 of us, and one of us had a stroke. Not me, thankfully. Like, there's more, but oh my word. This goes above my head. It really does. I'm gonna have to play it by ear and see how things go. Alright, until next time.